Alright, folks, I've kept you waiting long enough. It's time we finished up this puppet monster madness. Critters 4. I mean, I guess you knew this one was coming, right? Critters 4 is a movie from 1992. It is of course, the fourth in the Critters franchise. This one is the one that features critters in space. I mean, they're originally from space, the Krites. Krite equals critter. You know that, right? I mean, they broke out of, space jail or whatever, and they hijacked a ship and flew to Earth and messed with that family and blew up their house and stuff, and they came back a couple of years later and fucking ruined Easter for everybody in possibly the best Critters movie, Critters 2. Critters 3, they made their way to the city and they went after Leonardo DiCaprio in his very first movie. But now, Critters 4, they're in space. So, just like Leprechaun 4 in space, this one's going to be kind of like a rip-off of Alien, or it's at least going to take some of those elements from Alien, running down the corridors and self-destruct on the ship and all this airlock shit. And yeah, of course, that's all in there. And it takes place couple hundred years in the future. I'll put it on screen because I can't remember it. I don't want to look it up. Anyway, at the end of Critters 3, we get sequel baiting. We get Charlie, played by Don Opper, the guy who came in, I guess, kind of saved the day and rescued everybody from the critters in Critters 3. At the very end of it, he finds some critter eggs, and he's about to destroy them, but he gets a emergency hologram from his former colleague, fellow bounty hunter, Ugg. And Ugg tells him that, Charlie, you can't destroy these critter eggs. These are an endangered species. They're the last of their kind. What you need to do is you need to load them in this chamber, and they'll be frozen, and they'll be sent back to us. Okay, so I guess Charlie kind of fucks that up somehow at the beginning of this movie. Not only does he freeze the eggs, but he manages to freeze himself, and the collection pod, or whatever it's called, makes its way into space. And they drift around for like I said, 100, 200 years. They get picked up by this salvage crew. Very much reminded me of a proto Firefly kind of situation. They just go around picking up stuff to sell. They're kind of on the fringe of legality. So you have your dirtbag captain who doesn't even really want to pick up this pod, but they find out that it's actually valuable, and there's been a request, a bounty placed on this thing, and they're going to bring it back and sell it. And so the dirtbag captain wants to open it up and see what's in there, but they tell him not to. By the way, captain's name is Captain Rick. Yeah, Angela Bassett. She plays the pilot. I think her name is Fran. She's pretty badass in this movie, and she actually lives till the end, which is good. Then you get Brad Dourif. Now, I've always liked this guy. Chucky. Need I say more? I mean, he's the guy, the voice of Chucky. He also played the guy whose spirit got put into the Chucky doll. He's a frequent David Lynch collaborator as well. He's been in a bunch of David Lynch movies. I mean, I remember him from Blue Velvet and certainly from Dune. Speaking of David Lynch, you also get an appearance by Eric DeRay. He was a regular on Twin Peaks back in the day. Played Leon on Twin Peaks. He kind of fills that role of Jane Cobb on Firefly. He's this sketchy mercenary, just dude for hire. Apparently very into drugs, because he wants to raid this space station they go to. He wants to raid it for all the drugs and keep all the drugs and do all the drugs. I mean, he doesn't have a huge role in this movie, but he has a pretty cool death scene. I think he's one of the first ones to get killed by the Krites. Then you get your, I guess, main protagonist. His name is Ethan, played by an actor called Paul Whitthorne. I guess he's a stand-in for DiCaprio. This movie doesn't deserve a Leonardo DiCaprio. The other one I don't think did either, to be quite honest with you. So they pick up the pod. They take it to the space station. Turns out the space station is like wrecked and abandoned, and they're alone there. But they have to wait for like somebody to come pick up the pod so they can get paid for this job. So the captain can't wait, so he opens the pod, inadvertently releases the Krites, who I believe eat him. And also Charlie appears. Charlie unfrozen now in the future has there's a good couple minutes where he's like disoriented and he doesn't know where he is. And the other guy's Don Opper. This guy's still a bad actor, and I don't know. They try to make his character very endearing in these last few movies. Actually, in 2, 3, and 4. But it's just like he's such an idiot and he's just not good. And whatever. So the Krites escape and they're running amok on the space station, and the characters are getting attacked by them. They manage to kill a couple of them. They make the Krites make their way to the like medical lab or the science lab, and they find out that there's been experiments with alien creatures going on in this lab. Everybody's dead now, but whatever. The Krites figure out what they were doing, and they're using this like DNA replicator or something, or anyway, they use it to grow super big like right away and reproduce. And so you think there'd be like millions of critters all over the place. No, just like that last movie, there's like 4. And I think you only, on screen this time around, I think you only see like 3 of them at a time. And it's hard to tell because of they're such close-up shots. Like, you can't even tell whether, like, is this a big critter or just a little critter? Because they show, like, little baby ones when they're being born and stuff. And, yeah, I mean, the critter effects are, like, they're still kind of neat. And they look like critters. They look like Krites, like in the other movies. But they don't look that good. And there's so little footage of that. This movie had so much potential to be amazing. Like, could you imagine, like, as many critters aboard the space station as there were, like, tribbles aboard the Enterprise back in the day? Yeah, it had a potential to be a lot more exciting than this, but it just got really draggy, and some of the dialogue between the characters was really bad. And, I mean, Angela Bassett was good in this. I mean, she's a professional actress. And we almost got to see her naked. I mean, I'm glad she didn't stoop to having to do a nude scene for fucking Critters 4. And then Brad Dourif. Like, I really like Brad Dourif. I think he's a good actor. He plays a really good weird guy. No matter what he's in, he's a solid actor. And he was good in this. But he's not given enough to do. And he gets killed, like, before the end of the movie. And I'm like, he should have been the guy to live. So the acting is pretty bad except for those 2 actors. The guy who plays Ugg, who actually turns out to be like this like counselor on the space UN or whatever the fuck it is. He's like betraying Charlie because he basically wants to use the Krites and engineer them to be a weapon to be used by the Federation or whatever the fuck, I don't know. Yeah, and then Charlie ends up shooting him in the end and he dies, but his like betrayal is like makes no sense in the context of the Critters franchise. I don't know, it's got a lot of faults. This is definitely the worst of the Critter movies that I've seen. Oh, I don't know, I guess I gotta give this like a C+, because it's just a movie and it went by. I didn't like it that much, but I didn't hate it. It just happened, and I don't know, it was kind of like ever since Critters 2 was awesome, and then the franchise just went crashed and burned. I still haven't gotten around to seeing Critters Attack or Critters Feeding Frenzy or what. I haven't got around to watching any of those, but if I do, I'll definitely let you know. C+. What are you gonna do, right? Okay, so that kind of wraps up my Puppet Monster craze that I've been having in early 2024. I think I'm fully over my Puppet Monster fever. Although I'm not quite finished the horror movie in space thing for the season. I'll get back to you real soon on that one. And until such time, have a good one, everybody.